Okay, now let's see if that works. I think we've got some people in the waiting room already. Okay. This is my first time actually recording a Zoom call. So mhm. Are we getting this thing figured out?
There we go. Okay.
Oh, like I have actually never done a recorded Zoom call before.
Oh, gotcha.
So this is like,
I've been in a bunch of them, but I've never done one myself.
I know. So
Let's see if I can turn my volume up here. Okay, there we go.
I'm going to text a few of the people who's I know they said they were going to join and then see what's going on.
Okay.
I had to like everybody at church is wanting to talk, and I was like, dude, I gotta go. I gotta go. I got a meeting. I gotta hurry home to, and I should have said, I should have told you, Caprice, that that on Sundays probably like if we do Sundays again, let's push for like 1:15. That gives me time to put down the baby and whatnot.
Oh, gotcha. I know. I was wondering because I'm like, oh man, I'm like, I saw this morning on our way to church. I'm like, oh yeah, she has church. I'm like, oh, I'm like, I wonder, like timing wise.
I would have skipped church for you, just so you know. Okay, so what is your seriously, okay, so many people over the past few years have been telling me about Atomic Habits.
Mm-hmm.
Neil's jumping on right now. Do you know Neil? Have you met Neil before?
I don't think so.
Let me see. Neil, are you able to unmute yourself and show your face and introduce yourself? Hey, Neil. So what Neil is actually a friend, someone I met. Yeah, there we go. So Neil and I met actually on Instagram when I was up in North Dakota. I think was it, Neil. And
long time ago.
And then he works, what mine here in Nevada do you work at?
I actually just recently switched. Now I work for an online equipment auction company.
Hey, Jeff, stop.
Oh, nice.
But I was working for an independent company that had their own equipment that we leased or rented out to mines all over Nevada, Utah, and Arizona.
Okay. And Caprice, Neil has in the back of his mind, he would actually like to be on stage someday.
Nice. That's awesome.
And so we're gonna have to really get our mind our mind on track with
I've
some
got to
daily habits.
understand.
Say what, Neil?
Yes, I have to change a bunch of daily habits, but then I have to figure out how to do that as stay on track as I travel.
Mm.
Caprice,
Right.
are you able to share with him what's worked for you? Because I know I share a lot of my tips and tricks on social media. And Neil, I know you
Right.
followed me over the years, but you don't have to figure it out, Neil. You just have to kind of duplicate the process, the system that what you've seen me do.
Correct.
And Caprice, if you can, so before Caprice, before you share with what you have done, Neil, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed that you have to figure it out. So what exactly do you feel like, because going into Atomic Habits, this is, I feel like it's maybe our thinking, our mindset that is just right there. You said that I have to figure it out. And when we put all the work on us, it can feel overwhelming, and our primitive brain is to shy away from anything that requires effort to keep us alive, right? So right there, we have to understand it's your brain that is like, maybe it's a mental block, okay?
Oh yeah, I definitely have a mental block, and I don't want to be too many people. I think the majority of people jump into a new diet or a new system or a new something like that, and they go hot and heavy, and then they get burnt out of it too quickly. I myself have done it a couple times, and that's why I want to actually make more lifestyle changes that way, so it's something that I don't get burned out of and I continue to do.
Chapter 1 in Atomic Habits really talks about that somewhat, and we'll talk about, I want to share my takeaways, but real quick, Caprice, then when in your life did you kind of feel like this was going to be like a lifestyle, like, you know what, this is what I really want, this is now my life, this is now how I pack, and this is how I stay on track the best I can, when you have a schedule like Neil?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, it was after I had Nolan, my son, he's now 8, is when I was like, I'm not going to do a diet. I'm not going to join a gym where they do an 8-week challenge and you eat 500 calories a day. And yeah, you drop a lot of weight in those 6 weeks, but they didn't teach you habits or creating a lifestyle to keep that off. So majority of the people just put the weight right back on. And that's a pretty drastic, 6 weeks. I've done it. I've seen multiple family and friends that have done that. So I decided, exactly, you make a lifestyle for yourself with little steps every day. I've been doing it. So, I've made it a habit and routine of mine that things just come automatically to me now.
For example, could you be more tangible? Like what is one thing, like, as we talk about in chapter 1 in the book, they talk about the cycling team, like pouring alcohol on the tires,
on their tires, right,
on the road. Like, what is the one thing that you did?
My one thing that I did is I made sure I scheduled every day, whether it was just going on a walk, I scheduled an appointment with myself every day to have an hour to work out for myself. That was what I started with. Then I started with small changes in my eating. Now I'm like you, when I leave, I have a plan. I take snacks with me. So if I'm out, I can just grab it and eat. We're not eating fast food. We're not eating out. Having snacks and being prepared and having stuff on hand for me is a huge, huge thing. Because if I don't, I'm eating whatever there is. Oh, let's grab Del Taco. Let's grab this. What's in the fridge? That's a huge thing. And I'm trying to teach Skylar that right now, my daughter who's doing the challenges, you have to be prepared. grab the snacks, eat before you leave the house, make sure you're getting your protein in. But that's all come over time of creating habits for myself over the 8 years.
So Neil,
But being prepared is the biggest thing, I think, is, having your protein on hand with you so that it's there.
yeah. And Neil, something like knowing your work environment, I've had your life, very familiar with the mining. I've worked in the mines. And so, you know how, or in the oil field, everybody goes to the gas station in the morning, they grab their monsters, they grab their bomb burritos, and they kind of have a habit of what they tend to grab from the refrigerators and from the refrigerators and the ice thing right by the cashier register. So, and you always make sure to have the toilet paper. So those are things you're always grabbing. And that has become a habit for so long. I lived off of 3 monsters a day and I freaking loved it. But that was my habit and it was my vice. Because there were so many things with that life I didn't like. And I was like, okay, but this is what I need to get through this. This is my little slice of heaven. But then I want to say packing, that's when I paid for a coach and they gave me a meal plan. And when I wasn't with that coach anymore, that's when I didn't know how to stay eating the way she had told me or given me a meal plan to do it. So I want you to understand, Neil, before I move forward, have you listened to chapter 1 or 2, or even the beginning of the book, the introduction of the book yet?
I have to be completely honest, and I'm going to say I'm horrible, and no, I have not, because I completely forgot about it until you reminded me today.
That's totally fine. You can talk when we meet next week. And give me 1 second.
Well, I mean, I just got to download it because I have plenty of time that I'm behind the windshield traveling between town to town, visiting clients that, yeah, I have the time. I can listen to it. I will download it here once I get to the next town, because again, I'm on the road again.
Perfect. So that's where I feel like even next week when we tune in and talk about chapter 3 and 4 or 5, that's when you can then talk about kind of I will be asking you questions, what you think and has been applicable to how you can then make small, minute changes. Because in chapter 1 and chapter 2, they talk about how there was the cycling team in England. They never won a single championship in over 100 years. There was even bike companies that wouldn't sell bikes to them because they did not want their bikes to be represented, to be with a team where there was no winners. Okay, so then there was this coach that they hired, and the coach was like, okay, let's look at marginal wins. What is something very, 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 very small, okay, and that we can do to make a change? And then they go on to also the next story they talk about is how impactful just a tiny, tiny change can be. For example, if you're flying an airplane, Caprice, where was it? From New York to Washington?
Yeah, I think it was Washington, or it was from because they were supposed to land in LA, but if they went just a little bit off, they would have landed in Washington.
Yeah. And so if they had just gone a few degrees off, they would have landed way far off. Yeah. So this is where in your life, Neil, like you were saying, so many people feel like they have to make big changes. And even the book, almost word verbatim what you said, Neil, so many people feel like they need to make huge, big changes to have big results and changes in their life. But that is absolutely false. And the biggest results happen when we do the smallest, easiest change. The smallest, easiest change. Okay. And so it turns out where the cycling team, they actually went off to winning 36 something Olympic gold medals and over 100 different competitions or world championships and something like that. And I was actually walking in from church and unlocking the door. And I'm like so frustrated that I got the baby here in my arm. I got the high heels on and I'm like doubled up in this. Caprice, you recognize this top. And so I'm wearing a long sleeve bodysuit under. I'm like, my gosh, I'm so frustrated. I'm so hot right now. And I'm like, why is my life always so frustrating and so hectic? And I'm like, but then I stopped myself right there and I was like, but because of it, my life has come forward a lot, like a lot. And actually in church today, we talked about how stress releases the number one hormone released during stress. Do you guys know what it is? I did not know this. It's a TED Talk. I'll share it in the Facebook group. Take a guess.
I'm not sure. Is it the hungry hormone?
Neil, do you know what hormone is released when you're stressed? Besides cortisol.
I do not know.
Oxytocin, the same hormone that's released when we kiss or when we hug someone or when we think about someone we love. It's the same hormone. So when we are stressed out, that hormone tells us to go get help, reach out to our loved ones, get support, be social. So the oxytocin hormone it skyrockets in our body just as much as, what other hormone was it? I can't remember what other hormone they said was a fight or flight hormone. I can't remember, but oxytocin, when it skyrockets because it drives us to be social. And I kind of got off course with that. I don't know. But yeah, so I was super stressed out and hurrying back home for this meeting. And I thought, okay, well, so the TED Talk talks about like when you look at stress as a good thing, because when you're stressed, your heart pumps faster. It's preparing you for whatever you are anticipating to come. So when they looked at people who actually, before they had to do a challenge, they told them to look at stress as a good, like gearing up for a battle, right? So I know, Neil, a little bit about your life. You don't have the easiest life and you got some family struggles going on. And it can be, and the same with me and my family, like Dell and I were 17 years apart. We do have challenges. And so, but we've realized that our challenges are in our favor. And so also looking at stress as a good thing, when you look at a challenge or something that you're going to change in life, Neil, as a good thing, instead of it being overwhelming, this will actually then change how your body responds. And the way it does that, Neil, is by your arteries, instead of restricting and getting thicker and restricting blood flow, they'll actually stay the same. They won't constrict. So you'll still have the same amount of blood flow and you'll be then more, it talks about this will then bring you more courage and help you feel more prepared for your challenge. So now tomorrow or tonight, as you try and maybe hit your daily caloric intake or your protein, or you go into a gas station and you're going to gear up with your food, I want you to understand that this stress or you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't know maybe how to prepare. I provided you the grocery shopping list, okay, in the Facebook group. And you have this feeling of you're overwhelmed and you have to figure it out. You're not going to figure it out. You're going to use the tools I've given you and you're going to not feel too stressed out in a bad way. You're going to feel stressed out in a good way. Do you think you're able to like try and work that mind muscle?
Oh yeah.
And look at stress as a positive thing to help you get the job done?
Definitely.
Okay. Caprice, what did you like about the book so far?
I really like chapter 1, especially how, because everybody always sets a goal, everybody's all goal orient, focus on goal. And then
Oh,
it's
and
true,
we only have 3 minutes left. So
okay, so once they hit that goal, they're like, okay, I did what I do, and they kind of fall off. But it's like, it's creating that system to get to that goal. So that system you have in place, you continue after the goal. So I love chapter 1. I took that away. It's like creating your systems to have in place to not only reach your goals, but then to continue with that. It's not the end. You didn't hit your goal. Now I'm done. You need to keep, living that, creating that lifestyle, those systems to have that lifestyle.
that's perfect, Neil, especially you. Like you were talking about, I need to come up with a system that works to plan better. And that's going to really help you. Just chapter 1 right there. Don't skip forward to chapter 1. The backstory leading up to chapter 1 is very helpful as well. So,
yeah,
and
I'll
Deborah,
definitely download it.
Go ahead.
I said I'll definitely download it and be listening as I travel.
Yeah. And I believe we set your macros on higher fat, lower carbohydrates, because you do sit a lot. So you don't need a high carbohydrate diet. So you're going to be enjoying your food. Go look at the fat grocery shopping list and the protein shopping list and the non-bloating veggie list, and you're going to do great. Okay. So as Caprice was saying, control your environmentals, pack, be prepared for what you're going to do. For example, you're not going to go camping without toilet paper.
Yeah. And actually I am pulling into Costco because I don't have one in Elko.
Okay.
So I am pulling into one right now to actually go do some shopping.
Okay, go to my Facebook group, screenshot the grocery shopping list. So you have that, the screenshots, okay? All right, thanks for tuning in, guys.
I think you said something about Deborah, what?
I thought Deborah was going to join us today.
I thought so too, but she is following behind me, but has our daughter with her. So she must have her occupied or something.
Okay, well, she can catch up next week and we'll listen to this recording.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Nice to meet you, Neil. Have a good day.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.